When I first started YouTube, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I always brainstormed lots of different ideas. One in particular was the best video game vacation spots, which later evolved into my Pixel Portal series, partially because Mario dominated some of the best places that came to mind for vacation spots. Isle Delfino took the cake for some of my favorite areas, and honestly, even when traveling, I found myself relaxing on beaches and listening to the game's soundtrack. With Odyssey's release this past year, my scope for amazing areas got even bigger. However, not every vacation destination in the Mushroom World appears to be grand. For those who watched my previous video about Mario being ejected from a plane above Egypt, you're in for another grim tale. Look away, as Lemony Snicket would say, because nothing but misfortune awaits Mario and friends on this devilish trip. We're diving back into the world of Club Nintendo again, and as always, a big thank you to the team over at OpenTrain for their translation efforts. We're jumping aboard the horrific airline Coupe Air for a second time. In Super Mario, rest? No thanks. Our comic begins with Mario and friends all traveling through an airport together. Their suitcases are packed, and they are heading on a well-deserved vacation. Soon after, Peach becomes a little worried and asks Mario if it was wise to book the cheapest vacation available. Mario, being the cheapskate that he apparently is, reaffirms that everything is going to be fine. That was mistake number 1, Mario. Mario approaches the check-in counter and at this point second-guesses himself based on how weird it looks. The steward is sleeping at the desk when he suddenly awakes and makes it known that he's practically blind. Mario and friends then place their luggage on the conveyor, as the comic hints that nothing should happen to them. Our tale only grows more grim though. In the next panel, we see an employee who is an ape, just tossing the luggage into a cart carelessly. Soon after, Peach realizes that the old crappy jet across the runway is their plane. And on top of that, they have to walk across the entire runway because there is no bus to take them there. As they approach the plane, it becomes very clear that the plane is barely functional. Mario comments, "Oh well, they always come down," which is probably the worst mindset to have about this kind of thing. Although, I guess since he was thrown out of the same airline above Egypt and survived, maybe the idea of a plane crash doesn't scare him somehow. Mario and friends soon encounter the plane's stewardess, who calls everyone slackers and tells them to hurry on the airline. I think this character is supposed to be a disguised Wendy Koopa, but if you know the actual reference, drop it in a comment below. Once everyone is seated on the plane, our squad of friends begins to grow worried. Luigi looks like he's about to have a mental breakdown at how awful the interior of the plane looks, and Peach claims that her and Mario are going to have a talk later. Mario then glances out the window of the plane to see the blind person from before being dragged to the aircraft. Apparently, they are the pilot. Mario, as dense as he is in this comic, is excited by the idea of having a plane that's falling apart, having a blind pilot, and a monster for a stewardess. The plane then immediately takes off, heading towards its destination, which is apparently a place called Koopabiza. However, Ludwig, one of the Koopalings, screams that maintenance on the jet wasn't even done yet, despite it taking off. Inside, the stewardess is tossing pizzas to everyone on board, claiming that she's even worked in the airline for 40 years. Surprisingly, the pizzas aren't poisoned or old, but that doesn't mean our tale doesn't get darker. The plane lands fine, but unfortunately everyone's luggage is completely smashed. Luigi quickly questions the cheap nature of his brother, as he points to a decrepit bus with Wario hanging around outside of it. Apparently, they're headed to the Goomba Royal Hotel, but Peach is extremely cautious about boarding the bus. When they get there though, Mario tries to reaffirm to his friends that this place doesn't look half bad. Peach decides to give Mario another chance now that they've arrived, but she has no idea what horrors await her inside that door she's about to open. In fact, the door falls apart the second she grabs the handle. Mario, of course, can't explain this, but they head to the registration counter regardless. Bowser's waiting for them and tells them that they don't have any reservations on record, and that the only room they have is the presidential suite, which is probably a huge unexpected expense. Morton Koopa quickly leads the group to the room, and Mario is shocked to see that the room is a complete mess and super small. Mario grows uneasy himself finally when he realizes that the bathroom is full of vacationing roaches. Peach runs out of the room screaming that she will not stay here, as Yoshi tries to calm her down, saying that a swim would do her good. After a 30-minute walk through the scorching heat, Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi arrive at the quote-unquote beach. It looks like Peach didn't come with them, but can we take a moment to appreciate this smug Yoshi? Classy. The trio enters the water, but it's only up to their knees, and it looks like it doesn't get any deeper. Luigi complains, saying he actually wanted to go swimming, so maybe they should check out the hotel pool, which, of course, looks like the aftermath of a zombie apocalypse. Mario finally gets fed up and says he's going to complain to management because this place is a total pigsty. However, judging by the next panel, it looks like his efforts were in vain. The friends are trying to sleep when suddenly a deafening sound erupts from below them as music notes flow from the floor. Luigi yells for Mario to do something, while Mario tries to keep his cool on his relaxing vacation. Before he can do anything, the floor gives way and everyone begins to fall. They land on a dance floor directly below them, as a midnight disco is going on. Bowser and the Koopalings appear to be throwing a party with other guests. Seeing as they land in the middle of the dance floor, I'm just going to assume someone got crushed. The four friends sprint out of the hotel wanting nothing to do with it anymore, just before the hotel caved in on itself, destroying everything. Which is actually kinda grim to think about. There was like tons of people in there. Meanwhile, back home, we see Mario and friends relaxing on what appears to be a tropical beach. But in reality, they are on top of a building in the city with a tropical backdrop behind them. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess. If you can't go to the beach, bring the beach to you. I actually really enjoy this comic simply because it contrasted my views of the Mushroom World a ton. I've always idolized 3D Mario environments for being really great and picturesque. And truthfully, places in Super Mario Sunshine made the kid in me want to travel the world. So knowing the opposite of that occurred 9 years before Super Mario Sunshine's release is kind of neat. I mean, this comic is completely bizarre, but it would have been something I would certainly have appreciated back in the 90s. Mario's come quite a long ways. But now that I dumped that vacation bomb on all of you, I'd love to know what you think. Catch anything in the comic I didn't? General thoughts about it? Share them in the comments below. And with that, thanks for tuning into this terrible tale of vacation woe. If you aren't subscribed yet, why don't you subscribe now so you can stay up to date with all my content? I'd certainly appreciate the support. Thanks for watching, guys and gals, and until my next video, cheers.